most welcome back to another video on my channel. Very happy to see you back here. Today we are gonna talk about guides, how to adjust the height of a guide, why to adjust it, do front wheels need to touch the track, yes or no? My personal opinion, my experience, yes. The better my best results came from front wheels touching the track, the guide and the braids floating and not really pressed onto the rails where the electricity comes from. This is, to my opinion, a very good example on how it should be. The guide is absolutely parallel to the surface of the electrical part of the track, which is a Carrera in this case. And the braids just float. If you set up the height of a guide, please keep in mind or ask yourself, what track am I gonna be racing on? Is it gonna be a Carrera? That's where the electrical parts are raised, they're above the surface, or is it a routed track where the braids are lowered? This is a bad example, so to say. This guide is not parallel. It leans backwards. It could be, or it can be adjusted. As you can see, the holder of the guide, we can bend that a little forward so it'll be parallel. But this way is not really perfect. It does work, but you still would have problems coming back and forth, and your braids wear out because the rear is pressed onto the track. So, and the guide is lifted in the front. As you can see, there's too much space between the bottom of this slot and the guide. This is a perfect example to me. This guide comes from a car or is built into a car I drove a 12 hours race with, and I have not changed the braids since. I will show you in a second what they look like. This is the braids after a 12 hours race on a Carrera track. To me, perfectly aligned in height and the way they're positioned for this track. We never had any electrical problems at all. And as you can see, it is maybe half a millimeter even too high up, but working perfect. You see here also on a very flat surface, this would have worked good on a wooden routed track as well. Something special we Europeans tend to use or use a lot, that is for height adjustment on the chassis. We've got those plates where there is already 0.9 or in this case 1.2 millimeters. There is a part in the middle, as you can see, that is higher than the rest. Why is that? I'll show you in a second. This is to adjust the chassis height, because our bolts and nuts chassis have an adjustment to adjust the height or to lower the chassis with the same tire diameter. And we can lower it, as you can see, to those plates and adjust the height just perfectly. I also use glass plates, like in this case with a foam tire, so to see where the tire actually touches the track. You can see here this small black stripe. This means that this tire has a conus, which means the outside diameter is smaller than the inside, which is perfect for a foam tire. It also works on polyurethane tires, as you can see here. It's not, the picture doesn't show it as well, but in real life you can see it really good which part of the wheel or the rubber touches actually the surface and which not. 1 to 32. I prefer a lot NSR chassis because here, as you can see, you can adjust the height of the chassis and the braids and the guide just perfectly, whatever diameter you have on the front wheels. How do you do that? You do that with those two screws on the left and on the right side, like here, and the whole chassis will come down or be lifted while the wheels touch the track. And this screw in the middle is to lower actually the drop arm of the guide where the braids are on, so you can adjust perfectly the height to the size of the tires. I use tungsten, as you can see, little side step, a lot to put a little weight in my chassis wherever I want them to, because I just press it in and it's just perfect. Why would you do that? Of course, all of you know a little wobble on the body to the chassis works a lot. And as you can see here perfectly, the wheels will always touch the track when the body wobbles. So this was my 2 cents to this topic. Hope it was interesting. Hope I could help. Stay tuned. Keep in touch.